I've been a teacher for over a decade, and it's my whole world. The classroom with its creaky desks, colorful posters, and the sound of young voices feels like home. I've won 3 teaching awards, one for innovative lesson plans, another for student mentorship, and a third for helping struggling kids shine. I've seen shy students find their voice, kids who couldn't read a paragraph go on to write essays, and math phobics solve equations with a grin. I've seen it all. My secret has always been patience, which was a knack for making lessons fun and believing every kid has potential. But this year, one student pushed me to my limit. Her name was Katie, a 15-year-old in my 9th grade class, and she was unlike anyone I'd ever taught. Katie wasn't just struggling, she flat out refused to learn. She'd slouch in her seat, earbuds in, scrolling her phone while I taught. I'd call on her and she'd give me a blank stare or a rude smirk. Whenever I tried to engage her, I got disrespected. Katie, can you solve this equation? It's just like the one we practiced.
Why should I? This is boring, I don't care.
I tried everything. I gave her simpler problems to build her confidence and sat with her during lunch to explain concepts. I even brought in puzzles to make math feel like a game. Nothing worked. She'd snap at me, roll her eyes, or just walk out of class. I kept my cool, but it was tough. I'd go home exhausted, replaying our interactions, wondering what I was missing. Katie, I know math isn't your favorite, but let's try this together. I'll help you.
Whatever, Miss Anna, you're wasting your time. I'm not doing it.
I didn't give up. I've had tough students before, and I always found a way through. I didn't want Katie to be the different one. I called Katie's mom, Linda, and asked for her to be present at the upcoming parent-teacher conference, because she mostly never was. On that day, the conference was packed. There were other teachers, parents, the usual chaos. I pulled Linda aside in a quiet corner of the gym, where we'd set up tables for the event. Linda, I need to be honest. Katie's failing every subject. She's not doing her work, and she's rude when I try to help.
Oh, Anna, I'm at my wit's end. Katie's always been stubborn, but I want her to do better. I don't know what to do. She needs to pass to have a future.
Linda's voice cracked, and her eyes welled up. She looked like a mom who'd tried everything and was losing hope. My heart went out to her. I've seen parents like this, feeling desperate and scared their kids are slipping away. I wanted to help, but I wasn't sure how I could. Well, I can give her extra resources, maybe some study guides, but Katie has to want to improve.
Can't you tutor her after school? I'll pay you anything. Please, Anna. You're her best chance.
I don't do private tutoring, Linda. My days are long, and I have other students to focus on.
Please, I'm begging you with the Lord's name. I'll get on my knees if I have to. Just help my daughter.
She was practically shaking, her hands clasped tight. I felt trapped. I genuinely didn't want to take on extra work, but her desperation was hard to ignore. Okay, Linda, I'll think about it. I can't promise anything, but I'll consider it.
Thank you. Thank you. You're a lifesaver. Let me send you something, just a gift.
No, come on, that's not necessary. I haven't even agreed yet.
Please, Anna. I know you haven't agreed. Just let me do it. It's just a thank you. What's your bank details?
Before I could stop her, she was tapping on her phone. That night, I checked my account and saw that $1,000 had been wired to me. I was stunned. I called Linda to return it, but she wouldn't hear it.
Keep it, Anna. It's a gift. I know you'll help Katie. Please don't send it back.
This is too much, Linda. I haven't decided yet.
I trust you. Just take it for my peace of mind.
I felt uneasy, like I'd been roped into something I didn't sign up for. But Linda's pleading voice stuck with me, and I let it go. 2 days later, Katie's test scores came in. She scored 0 out of 20 on math, science, and English. 3 tests, 60 questions, not a single answer right. I stared at the papers and felt my stomach sinking. I couldn't let her keep failing like this. I called Linda and asked her to bring Katie to school the next day. Linda, I'll tutor Katie after school 3 days a week, but she has to show effort or it won't work.
Oh, Anna, you're an angel. I'll pay you $2,000 a month, whatever you need.
That's way too much. I'd only charge $500.
No, $2,000. You're saving her future. It's worth it.
I argued, but Linda refused to give up. From her firm voice, I could tell she wouldn't take no for an answer. I gave in, feeling like I was losing control of the situation. Before starting, I went to Mrs. Carter, the school owner, to keep things transparent. I didn't want any trouble. Mrs. Carter, I'm tutoring Katie after school. Linda's paying $2,000 a month. I just want you to know.
That's a lot of money, Anna.
I said the same thing. I was going to take $500, but she insisted on this price.
All right. Since she insists, it's only right you take it. Be careful with this, and keep me updated, especially if anything feels off.
Tutoring Katie was like pulling teeth. She'd show up late, if she showed up at all. When she did, she was a nightmare. Always rude, distracted, and proud of it. She'd sprawl across the desk, texting or snapping selfies, ignoring my lessons.
Why am I even here? This is so stupid. My mom's loaded. I don't need this. I don't need education.
Katie, your mom wants you to succeed. Without education, you can't succeed. Let's just try one problem together.
You're just in it for the cash, Miss Anna. Don't act like you care.
Her words stung, but I kept going. I'd spend hours preparing lessons, tailoring them to her level, but she'd crumple worksheets or laugh in my face. I started dreading our sessions because my patience was wearing thin. Every week I'd call Linda to report Katie's behavior. Linda, Katie's not trying. She's rude, skips lessons, and won't do the work.
Oh, Anna, I'm so sorry. She's just difficult. I'll send you $500 for your trouble.
I don't need more money, Linda. I need Katie to listen.
Please take it. You're doing so much. Don't give up on her.
This happened over and over. $300 one week, $600 the next. I'd refuse, but Linda would beg, her voice trembling like I was her only hope. I felt guilty saying no, so I'd take the money, but I told Mrs. Carter every time, keeping a record of each payment. It was overwhelming, like I was being paid to feel bad. 4 months in, Katie was worse than when we started. Her grades tanked to zeros and single digits on every quiz. She was bolder with her insults, mocking me openly.
You're the worst teacher ever. No wonder I'm failing. You're useless.
Katie, I'm giving you everything I've got. You have to meet me halfway.
Whatever. My mom's gonna make you sorry for this.
I was done. I couldn't keep pouring my energy into someone who didn't care. My other students were thriving, and I was neglecting them to deal with Katie's attitude. I called Linda for a final meeting one day. Linda, I can't tutor Katie anymore. She's not improving because she refuses to try. I've done all I can.
What? You're quitting because you're a fraud? You took my money and made my daughter dumber.
That's not true. I've worked hard, but Katie won't cooperate.
You're a thief. You've been stealing from me, and now Katie's worse off. You owe me $30,000 for ruining her education.
I don't owe you anything. You forced that money on me. I never asked for it.
You're crazy for saying that. I've paid you over $30,000. You'll give it back, or I'll destroy you.
Linda looked so angry and scary. She called me a liar, a cheat, and a failure of a teacher. I'd never seen her like this. Gone was the desperate mom who wanted her daughter to improve. This new one was replaced by someone cruel and vicious. I stood my ground, but I was shaking. I took what you insisted on giving me. I've been honest. You can't blame me for Katie's choices.
I can, and I will, because you're at fault. You'll pay every cent, or I'll sue you. You'll regret crossing me.
She wasn't bluffing. 1 week later, Linda sued me, dragging me to court. The courtroom was cold and packed with people, making me feel small under their stares. Linda stood up, her voice loud and mean.
Anna's a thief. She tricked me into paying her thousands, then failed my daughter on purpose. She's a deceiver who used us.
I felt so disappointed, but I was ready. I'd been careful from the start. Every meeting with Linda, I turned on a small recorder in my pocket, just in case things got messy. I stood before the judge and played the tapes, every word clear as day. From Linda offering me $2,000 a month, to pushing extra payments, then to begging me to take them even when I refused. I recorded every meeting with Linda. She set the tutoring price and forced extra money on me. I reported every payment to my boss, Mrs. Carter, and complained about Katie's refusal to learn. I called Mrs. Carter to the stand. She walked in and backed me up.
Anna told me about every payment from Linda, from the $2,000 monthly to the extra gifts. She also came to me multiple times, frustrated because Katie wouldn't engage. Anna's honest and dedicated. Linda's a bad mom who refuses to acknowledge her daughter's misbehavior.
After a while, the judge finally spoke.
Anna is not guilty of theft or deceit. Linda, your accusations were false and defamatory. Your actions constitute attempted extortion. You will pay Anna $10,000 for defamation of character and emotional distress.
Linda's face looked so defeated and angered. She begged the judge to give her time to gather the money, and was granted. I was so happy. Katie was expelled from school that week because her behavior had been a problem for too long, and this was the final straw. The school filed a formal complaint. The district attorney's office got involved, and Katie was summoned to juvenile court. She arrived in designer sneakers and an attitude like she was walking onto a red carpet, but the judge wasn't amused.
Miss Katie, your actions were malicious, calculated, and damaging, not just to your teacher, but to the entire learning environment. I see no remorse in your eyes. You are dangerously close to a sentence in juvenile detention, but I'm giving you a final chance to rehabilitate. You will perform 200 hours of community service, cleaning the school you insulted. Toilets, classrooms, garbage duty, supervised, visible, daily. You will also attend court-mandated anger management sessions with at-risk youth. Fail once, and I revoke this mercy.
I thought it was over, and that I could finally move on. Just days before the court date, strange things began happening. I started receiving anonymous emails from untraceable accounts, each one more disturbing than the last. You stole from a grieving mother. You'll pay. Hope your students know what kind of woman you really are. Then, my car was vandalized in the school parking lot. The words "greedy liar" were scratched deep into the paint. I reported it to the school security, but they said the cameras were mysteriously disabled that day. The next morning, flyers with my picture and the words "Predator Teacher Exposed" were scattered across the staff room and even some lockers. Students whispered, teachers looked uncomfortable, and I started to feel the walls closing in. I went to Mrs. Carter, trembling. "Mrs. Carter, someone's trying to ruin me."
This is disgusting. We'll investigate this immediately. But Anna, are you sure Linda didn't do this?
I wouldn't put it past her. Linda didn't pay the $10,000 as ordered. Instead, she showed up at school one morning, on the day she was supposed to pay, holding a knife and looking like a raging dog.
You destroyed my daughter's life. You'll pay for this, Anna. I'll kill you.
My heart stopped as she lunged toward me in the hallway. Kids screamed, teachers shouted, but thankfully, 2 janitors tackled her before she could reach me. Someone called the cops and they hauled her away. The court didn't go easy on her. She was forced to pay the $10,000, and for attempted assault with a deadly weapon, she got 3 years in prison with no chance of early release. The school rallied around me after that. My students made me cards. Some even hugged me, saying they were glad I was okay. Mrs. Carter gave me a week off to recover, but I was back in the classroom 3 days later because I couldn't stay away from teaching for a whole week. Months later, I took up a part-time job to tutor in a prison. It was surreal at first, walking into that prison classroom, lesson plan in hand, only to lock eyes with Linda Walters in an orange jumpsuit. She sat in the back, arms folded, face stony, like a queen stripped of her crown. 2 months of bad behavior had landed her in the education program, and now, by prison rules, she had to sit through my lessons or risk losing her few remaining privileges. Week after week, she endured every session in silence, unable to lash out like she used to. And then came the day I decided to lean into the irony. I was teaching similes and metaphors, simple stuff, but powerful when used right. The class was engaged. One young woman raised her hand.
Miss Anna, can you give another example of irony?
I smiled and glanced around the room, then let my eyes rest deliberately on Linda. "Certainly," I said, my voice clear. "Irony is when a woman threatens a teacher, tries to destroy her life, and ends up being taught by the very same person in prison. That's called poetic justice." A wave of laughter swept through the room. Linda didn't move, but her jaw clenched so tight I could see the muscles twitch. Later in the lesson, I passed by her desk and gently placed a worksheet in front of her. "You might want to pay attention today, Linda. The test next week will cover humility, something you used to fail at." She didn't speak. She couldn't. In my classroom, she was no longer the woman who once tried to ruin me. She was just another student. And I was the one with the red pen. But Linda being Linda, she refused to participate, never raised her hand, never turned in a single assignment. She'd just sit there, arms crossed, eyes full of resentment, trying to prove she was above it all. So I filed a formal report. I submitted weekly documentation to the prison warden's office, outlining her refusal to engage, her disruptive glares, her deliberate non-compliance with educational directives. I knew exactly how the system worked, and I used it. 3 days later, Linda lost every privilege. No commissary, no library access, no common room, no phone calls, not even the late-night television slot most inmates clung to for sanity. The next time she walked into my class, she looked smaller. No makeup, no smug smile, just a bitter silence that reeked of defeat. She knew exactly who did it, and I didn't have to say a word. She just sat there, pencil in hand now, trying to pretend she cared. Funny how prison has a way of teaching the lessons life tried to offer earlier, if only she'd listened. Thanks for watching.
Grandpa's health started to decline when I was in my late 20s. At first, it was little things, forgetting names, losing track of time. Then it got worse. He was diagnosed with early-stage Alzheimer's, and Grandma, who was already struggling with arthritis, became his full-time caregiver. Although in reality, most of the caregiving fell to me. They tried their best to be self-sufficient, but they needed my help more and more. One day after Grandpa had a particularly bad day, I confronted Meredith in the hopes that I could enlist her help. Meredith, I need your help. We can't do this alone.
I'm not a nurse, Corey. Find someone else. Maybe find someone that gives a crap.
They took us in when we had no one. Don't you feel any obligation to repay that kindness?
Nope. I didn't ask to be born into this family. And besides, why would I want to take care of them? I can think of way more fun things to do than to hang around two old farts and a loser like you.
Her apathy was infuriating, and her cruelty was unbearable. She started yelling at Grandpa when he forgot things, calling him useless and a burden. She mocked Grandma for being slow and clumsy. Hi there, my name is Corey. If I'm being honest, my life has always revolved around my sister, Meredith. Not by choice, but because she's the kind of person who demands attention, selfish, dramatic, and impossible to ignore. We used to be close when we were little, but everything changed when our parents died in a car accident. I was 15, Meredith was 17, and suddenly, we were orphans. Grandma Rose and Grandpa Eric, our father's parents, stepped in. They were already in their late 60s, but they didn't hesitate to take us in. Family takes care of family, Grandpa said when we moved in. They gave us a stable home and all the love they had. But Meredith didn't see it that way. To her, it was just another burden she didn't want to carry.
Meredith, do you mind setting the table for dinner?
Do it yourself, Grandma. I'm busy.
She asked you nicely, Meredith. The least you can do is help out. Maybe stop staring at your phone all day and stop being lazy.
Oh, shut up, Corey. No one asked for your opinion.
This was typical Meredith. Always taking, never giving. When Grandpa lent her money to buy a used car, he made her promise to look for a job. Instead, she spent her days driving to parties and racking up parking tickets. Not only that, but since our grandparents co-signed for the car for her, they started getting calls from collections agencies when she stopped making car payments. Meredith, you're 3 months behind on payments. They're threatening to repossess and tow the car.
Relax, Grandpa. It's just a car.
But we co-signed for it. If they repossess it, that will negatively affect our credit score.
I can always get another.
It's not just a car. Meredith, are you really so selfish and stupid that you don't realize that if they repossess it, that means that you won't get another one? No car dealership is going to sell you a replacement car when they were forced to take this one back. Plus, you aren't the only person that will suffer if that happens. Do you really not care about how it will affect our grandparents?
God, you're so dramatic. All of you need to calm down and relax. Just stop whining.
Meredith's selfishness wasn't just about money. One Thanksgiving, she decided at the last minute not to come to dinner. Grandma had spent days cooking her favorite dishes, sweet potato casserole, pecan pie, and was heartbroken when Meredith called.
I've got other plans.
Plans? But it's Thanksgiving. We were looking forward to spending it together as a family.
What family? You aren't my mother, and I'd rather do something fun. Yeah, well, I'll catch you next time.
Meredith replied before hanging up. That night, Grandma cried as we packed the untouched food into containers. I tried to comfort her, but my own resentment toward Meredith was growing stronger. After losing our parents, our grandparents had really stepped up and filled the void they left behind. We never had to worry about anything with them, and they truly were loving and wonderful people. It enraged me the way Meredith would treat them. As the years went by, it became clear that Meredith had no intention of changing. She moved in and out of the house, leaving chaos in her wake. Bills went unpaid, valuables went missing, and every confrontation ended with her blaming someone else. Meredith, you've got to start paying rent.
Rent? This is Grandma and Grandpa's house. Why should I pay anything?
Because they're on a fixed income. Do you even care how much stress you're causing them?
Not my problem. Besides, we both know that they are loaded. They have more than enough money.
They're retired, though. Whatever money they have has to last until they pass away, and if we're lucky, they'll live for another 40 years.
I hope not. I, for one, could use that money.
I was so disgusted with her. It was a sad day when I realized that not only had I lost my parents, but at some point I had lost my sister as well. I didn't know who this horrible person was anymore, and I wanted nothing to do with her. And then things began to take a turn for the worse. Grandpa's health started to decline when I was in my late 20s. At first, it was little things, forgetting names, losing track of time. Then it got worse. He was diagnosed with early-stage Alzheimer's, and Grandma, who was already struggling with arthritis, became his full-time caregiver. Although in reality, most of the caregiving fell to me. They tried their best to be self-sufficient, but they needed my help more and more. One day after Grandpa had a particularly bad day, I confronted Meredith in the hopes that I could enlist her help. Meredith, I need your help. We can't do this alone.
I'm not a nurse, Corey. Find someone else. Maybe find someone that gives a crap.
They took us in when we had no one. Don't you feel any obligation to repay that kindness?
Nope. I didn't ask to be born into this family. And besides, why would I want to take care of them? I can think of way more fun things to do than to hang around two old farts and a loser like you.
Her apathy was infuriating, and her cruelty was unbearable. She started yelling at Grandpa when he forgot things, calling him useless and a burden. She mocked Grandma for being slow and clumsy, and when Joe entered the picture, things got even worse. Joe was everything you'd expect from someone who would date Meredith: loud, rude, and completely devoid of empathy. He mocked Grandpa's memory lapses and laughed at Grandma's struggle to carry laundry up the stairs. One night, after Joe made a particularly cruel joke about Grandma's cane, I snapped, "Get out of this house, Joe. What are you gonna do, Corey? Lecture me? Because we both know that you don't have the balls to throw me out yourself. You're too weak to do anything. Leave. Now!"
He's my guest, Corey. You don't get to decide who stays.
A week later, they were gone. They left without a word, abandoning our grandparents in their time of greatest need. I wish they had left because I told them to, but I think they were just sick of constantly being asked to help out around the house. At first, I was furious. But as the days passed, I realized life was better without them. The house was quiet and peaceful, and as an added benefit, my grandma and grandpa seemed happier. For the next few years, I devoted myself to caring for my grandparents. It was hard, physically, emotionally, financially, but I wouldn't have had it any other way. They had given me everything, and I was determined to repay them. But eventually, my grandpa's illness caught up with him. He passed away on a crisp November morning. He held my hand and asked me to look after my grandma, and then he said that he loved us both very much, and then he was gone. But Grandma didn't last long without him. 3 days later, she passed away in her sleep. At their funeral, I felt an overwhelming sense of loss, but also peace. They had been together for over 50 years, and now they were reunited. Honestly, I felt that they loved each other so much that the thought of living without one another was too much, and I think my grandma died so that she could be with him again. After the funeral, I returned to the house to start packing up their belongings. That's when Meredith showed up, with Joe.
Hey, baby brother. I saw the good news online.
Good news? How can you still be such a ghoul?
I see you still can't take a joke and that you still have a rod up your butt. What other reason would I be here in this dump? I'm here for the will, of course.
What are you doing here? You can't be serious. After abandoning them years ago, you think they would leave you with something? Why not? It's what we're owed. We're family after all. You abandoned them. You don't deserve a dime.
Joe and I are here to collect our share. Spare me the lecture, Corey. We'll wait here until the will is read. And once we get our share, then and only then will we leave.
You can't stay here. Besides, the will's reading is private. You two assholes aren't allowed in the office.
Yeah, right. As if a scrawny loser like you could keep us out. Go ahead and try and stop us.
The next morning, I left extra early in the morning to meet with the lawyer. When the will was read, I was stunned. My grandparents had left everything to me. The house, their savings, everything. The lawyer handed me a note in Grandma's handwriting. Use this money to see the world, Corey. Live the life you've always dreamed of. When I returned home, I quickly packed a bag and headed to the airport. Just as my grandma had instructed, I bought a ticket to the Bahamas, and once there, I booked a stay at an all-inclusive resort. It had been years since I had been on vacation, and I needed the downtime badly. It was expensive since I did everything last minute, but I now had the money to afford it, and time away did wonders for me. However, my vacation was interrupted.
Where are you? When's the reading?
I'm on vacation and it already happened. They left everything to me.
You're lying!
No, Meredith. They gave me everything because they knew I was the only one who cared.
That's not fair. What about Joe and I?
It's more than fair, actually. But what I don't get is why you think I should care. You're both adults. Why do I need to take care of you?
Because we're broke, Corey. We owe hundreds of thousands of dollars to debt collectors, and we needed our grandparents' money to get us out of debt. We can't even afford to buy groceries. We are that poor. Please have some sympathy for us.
She did her best to try to make me feel sympathy for them, but it wasn't working. After the way they had treated me and our grandparents, there was no way I was going to have an ounce of sympathy for them. That's when I came up with a rather evil plan. Fine. I'll help you.
Wait, you will?
Yes, I will, but I'm not ending my vacation early for you two. You'll have to come here to me. I'm in China.
China? We can't afford a plane ticket to China. We literally have no money at all.
It's fine. I'll pay for you two to fly out here, and I'll even put you up in a 5-star hotel. We'll sip champagne and eat caviar while we hash out things. Sound good?
Oh my God, yes! The flight better be first class, though.
I agreed, and I paid for a one-way trip to China for them. Thankfully, greed made my sister and Joe incredibly blind and stupid because they didn't notice that the flights were one-way, and they didn't even question why I had traveled to China, of all places, whereas I was in the Bahamas. While they were flying across the ocean, I called the police office in China where they were to land, and I described my sister and Joe to the officers, and I lied to them and told them that they were drug traffickers. The police took my story seriously, and they arrested Joe and Meredith shortly after they landed. Of course, without any money, they couldn't afford a lawyer, and so they were railroaded through the Chinese judicial system. From what I heard, they ended up serving several months in jail while the whole thing was sorted out. Meanwhile, back home, I sold my grandparents' house. It was a beautiful house, but there were too many painful memories there, and I wanted a fresh start, so I sold it and moved across the country to the coast where I bought a house right on the beach with a very high-tech security system. I also spent some of my inheritance on buying a cafe near to my new home. It took a bit to get both just the way I wanted them, but I built a life for myself there, and whenever I wasn't working, I was traveling the globe as my grandmas had wanted for me. I know one day that Joe and Meredith will find a way to get back home, but I doubt it will be anytime soon, and even then, I didn't exactly leave a trail for them to follow, so it will be many years before they figure out where I am. Should they ever find me, though, I plan to hit them with a restraining order. As for me, in the meantime, I'm living the good life. I do miss my grandparents, but I also know that they would be proud that I stood up to my sister, and I know that they would very much approve of how I live my life. Thanks for watching.
This wine tastes like cough syrup. Fire the sommelier. Why is the waitress so dark? Doesn't this place have a dress code?
Evelyn was polite, but her phone was recording.
That valet? He was eyeing my purse. I'll say he stole something. That should get him fired. These people understand nothing but consequences. That's serious, are you sure? Of course not, but who'll believe him over me?
After the meeting, both women walked outside together. Evelyn was calm, smiling. Charlotte said little. She got into her car, sat there for a moment, then suddenly stepped back out and marched toward me.
Where's my bracelet? It was in the cup holder. You stole it. I want the police.
Carmen rushed over. So did guests.
He stole it. I knew it. These animals always do. He didn't steal anything, and I have proof.
She played the audio, every racist word, every plan to lie, every insult.
Also, Marcus is my son, my adopted son. Guess you are surprised.
Gasps, silence. Charlotte went pale.
You set me up. No, you exposed yourself.
The video went viral. Racist CEO frames valet, gets exposed. My name is Marcus. I park cars. It isn't much, but I take pride in doing it right. Crisp uniform, polite nods, memorizing car types faster than a dealership. Most people don't notice me. That's fine. Sometimes being invisible means you see everything. But today was different. She screeched into the lot like she owned it inside a luxurious car, platinum blonde, sunglasses the size of her ego. Her name? Charlotte King, CEO of Kingstone Corporation real estate mogul. Media darling, known for hostile takeovers and hostile attitudes.
You, boy, take my keys. Don't scratch it.
She tossed the keys at me, hard. I caught them midair. Of course, ma'am. Welcome to Lemiel.
Try not to steal anything. I know how your kind operates.
I flinched, not because I was hurt, because the waitress by the entrance dropped her notepad. She heard it too. Miss King, that's inappropriate.
Excuse me, you let them park cars here? I demand he be replaced.
His name is Marcus, and he's been with us 5 years. We stand by him. If you have an issue, you're free to leave. Charlotte scoffed and stomped inside. Inside, she met Evelyn Monroe, CEO of Monroe Ventures. Class, intelligence, and quiet strength. Charlotte was hoping to secure a deal. What she didn't know? Evelyn was more than a businesswoman. Charlotte complained non-stop.
This wine tastes like cough syrup. Fire the sommelier. Why is the waitress so dark? Doesn't this place have a dress code?
Evelyn was polite, but her phone was recording.
That valet? He was eyeing my purse. I'll say he stole something. That should get him fired. These people understand nothing but consequences. That's serious, are you sure? Of course not, but who'll believe him over me?
After the meeting, both women walked outside together. Evelyn was calm, smiling. Charlotte said little. She got into her car, sat there for a moment, then suddenly stepped back out and marched toward me.
Where's my bracelet? It was in the cup holder. You stole it. I want the police.
Carmen rushed over. So did guests.
He stole it. I knew it. These animals always do. He didn't steal anything, and I have proof.
She played the audio, every racist word, every plan to lie, every insult.
Also, Marcus is my son, my adopted son. Guess you are surprised.
Gasps, silence. Charlotte went pale.
You set me up. No, you exposed yourself.
The video went viral. Racist CEO frames valet, gets exposed. Justice for Marcus trended for a week. Media swarmed. We sued for defamation and emotional distress. The court awarded us $15 million, but the storm wasn't done. Videos started popping on social media. Her ex-chef. She fired me after I refused to enforce segregated kitchens. Said customers felt more comfortable that way.
She told me to straighten my hair or find another job.
She said we didn't deserve healthcare. Called us labor tools. Emails leaked. Hire fewer ghetto types. Clients notice. Don't promote the Asian guy. Can't understand a word he says. Clips surfaced of her saying, I'm not here to fill taco trucks. I'm here to run a company. Amma, the Ghanaian nanny, posted a heart-wrenching video that exploded across platforms.
She told me I was a monkey, locked me in a room for hours, paid me scraps, threatened to deport me. For years, I thought I had no voice. Now I do.
The comment section flooded with support. Reporters followed the money. Charlotte had donated hundreds of thousands to white supremacist-linked PACs, anti-immigration foundations. Preserve America rallies. Organizations she supported returned funds. Some went public with apologies for ever working with her. 20 former employees filed a lawsuit. Pattern of racism, abuse, and wage theft, the headlines read. Another $9 million in damages. She was drowning in legal fees. Her board forced her out. Her name was stripped from the company. Her nanny made a video. Amma.
I lost everything for that woman. She stole my dignity, but she can't take my truth.
She released more videos. Charlotte was labeled a monster internationally. The country club revoked her membership. Spokesman. We do not tolerate hate. Miss King is permanently banned. A video showed her being turned away at the gate. She screamed, kicked the guard post, and collapsed, sobbing. Murals appeared. Karma doesn't tiptoe. This is what hate costs. Painted by black artists across the city. Her mansion defaced. Tags on her gates. Red paint on her walls. Then the gangs came. They broke into her house. Kidnapped her daughter. For 2 hours, the girl was blindfolded. Not harmed, but terrified. They released a chilling video. If your mom ever says one racist word again, we come back. This time for good. She ain't safe, ever. They let the daughter go. Shaken, crying. She fled the city with her mother. Charlotte fled the city. But word traveled fast. Her reputation followed her to the new state. She applied for job after job, rejected each time. Eventually, she ended up as a waitress in a small black-owned diner. The irony? No one there knew at first, until someone recognized her. A group of black kids walked in one afternoon.
Hey, is that the racist lady from the videos?
Yo, take my order, Miss Monkey Boss. They burst out laughing. She stood frozen, tray trembling. Another time, a birthday party group requested her section, then made her sing happy birthday to a toddler wearing a shirt that read, "My hero is Marcus the valet." Her past became her prison. 1 year later, I stood in front of the same restaurant, but not in a red vest, in a tailored navy blue suit.
Ready for the boardroom, Vice President?
I am. But first, I want to stand right here. Same valet spot, same gravel crunch underfoot, full circle. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below saying I subscribed, and we will try our best to reply to your comment. Thanks for watching, guys.
But to me, she was a nightmare in a pleated skirt.
Oops, didn't see you there, Alina. Watch your step. Oh wait, do you even know what that means?
That was the first time she tripped me in the hallway. My books scattered like fallen leaves, and her laughter rang through the corridor like a cruel melody. For years, she tormented me. Sometimes with cutting words, sometimes with silence, sometimes with tricks that made me the punchline of cruel jokes. There was the time she stuck chewing gum under the handle of my locker and watched me struggle to open it with my limited grip, giggling with her friends. Or when she convinced a substitute teacher that I was faking my limp for sympathy, resulting in a humiliating physical demonstration in front of the entire class. She once swapped out my adaptive chair during a school assembly with one that had broken legs, knowing I would fall. I remember the sound of my body hitting the gymnasium floor and the uproarious laughter that followed. There were cruel notes left in my backpack. A Valentine's Day card, signed anonymously. They say revenge is a dish best served cold, but in my case, it came wrapped in white lace and bitter irony. I hadn't intended to tell this story. For the longest time, I let the pain ferment in silence like some old wine best left to sour. But now, after what happened at the wedding that wasn't, I feel it needs to be said. Maybe you'll understand, maybe you'll judge, but either way, you'll know the truth. My name is Alina. I was born with cerebral palsy. It doesn't define me, but it colors every moment of my life. My legs don't move like yours, and my hands tremble when I write. I walk with a cane and limp through the world, always slightly out of rhythm, always slightly out of place. I went to a small private school, a place full of polished floors, blazers, and tightly wound secrets. It's where I met her. Eliza Beaumont. She was the school's golden girl, beautiful hair and a smile that could melt teachers' hearts and mask a venomous soul. To everyone else, she was perfect. But to me, she was a nightmare in a pleated skirt.
Oops! Didn't see you there, Alina. Watch your step. Oh wait, do you even know what that means?
That was the first time she tripped me in the hallway. My books scattered like fallen leaves, and her laughter rang through the corridor like a cruel melody. For years, she tormented me. Sometimes with cutting words, sometimes with silence, sometimes with tricks that made me the punchline of cruel jokes. There was the time she stuck chewing gum under the handle of my locker and watched me struggle to open it with my limited grip, giggling with her friends. Or when she convinced a substitute teacher that I was faking my limp for sympathy, resulting in a humiliating physical demonstration in front of the entire class. She once swapped out my adaptive chair during a school assembly with one that had broken legs, knowing I would fall. I remember the sound of my body hitting the gymnasium floor and the uproarious laughter that followed.
Oops, sorry, Alina.
There were cruel notes left in my backpack. A Valentine's Day card, signed anonymously, that made me think, just for a moment, that someone cared. It was a trap. At lunch, Eliza read it aloud in front of everyone.
To the bravest, most beautiful girl I know. Aw, who would write this to you? Must be someone very imaginative.
I never told anyone. Not my teachers, not my parents, not even my brother Daniel. Daniel, who was 5 years older than me, wasn't just my brother. He was my protector, my best friend. When I was little, he was the one who carried me when my legs gave out. He taught me how to swim, even though my muscles wouldn't always listen. He cheered the loudest at every school play, even when my role was small. We had a bond that couldn't be broken. There was a day, I was 10, Daniel 15, when we were playing near a frozen creek. He slipped, and the ice cracked beneath him. Without thinking, I scrambled forward, my cane falling into the snow.
Don't, Alina!
But I crawled anyway. I grabbed his hand and held on with everything I had. He got out. I ended up in the hospital with pneumonia and a fractured leg that never healed right. He never forgot. He left for college before Eliza's cruelty reached its peak. By the time he graduated, I was finishing high school and Eliza had moved on to new prey. Or so I thought. Fast forward 8 years. I was working as an illustrator, living on my own, and going to physical therapy twice a week. I had built a quiet, gentle life, one free of Eliza Beaumont. Or so I thought.
Alina, I met someone. I think she might be the one.
That's great, Danny. What's she like?
You might know her, Eliza Beaumont. We went to the same high school.
My blood ran cold. Are you sure it's the same Eliza?
Yeah. Why?
No reason. Just surprised. I didn't tell him. Not at first. I didn't want to poison his happiness. Maybe she had changed. People do. But people don't change their eyes. When I saw her again, at our family's Christmas party, it all came flooding back. Her smile hadn't changed. That same syrupy sweetness masking the rot underneath.
You didn't tell me your sister was so... spirited?
Alina's amazing. She's the strongest person I know.
Don't worry. I won't make you walk down the aisle. Wouldn't want you limping on my big day.
I didn't say anything. I smiled, but something in Daniel's expression flickered. Over the next few months, wedding plans took over our lives. Eliza inserted herself into every conversation, every gathering. She was always sweet, always polite, but never to me. I watched her charm my parents. I watched her spin a web around Daniel. But I saw the cracks. I saw the way she flinched when things didn't go her way. The sharpness that slipped into her voice when she spoke to waitstaff. The way she looked through people instead of at them. And Daniel noticed too.
Was she always like this, back in school?
You tell me. He didn't press, but something shifted. A week before the wedding, I got a call from Eliza.
I just wanted to clear the air. I know we weren't exactly friends in school, but I hope you can let bygones be bygones.
You made my life hell for 5 years.
That was a long time ago, Alina. People grow.
Some people, not you. She hung up. The wedding day arrived. It was held in a grand hall with white roses and crystal chandeliers. I wore a navy dress and a silver cane. Eliza wore a designer gown and a counterfeit smile. Just before the ceremony began, Daniel asked me to join him in a side room.
I need you to do something for me.
What is it?
Tell me everything. All of it. Everything you know about my to-be wife, please.
So I told him. Every cruel word. Every shove. Every whisper. I told him how she humiliated me in front of classmates, how she broke my spirit and wore it like a trophy. He didn't say a word, then he smiled. Not a happy smile, a sad one. The kind of smile people wear when they finally see something clearly.
Thank you. Stay here.
10 minutes later, he walked out onto the altar, microphone in hand. The room fell silent.
Before we begin, I want to share a story. A story about cruelty, about truth, and about love.
He told them everything. Not names, not details, but the shape of it, the pain, the betrayal, the realization that the woman he was about to marry had once tormented the person he loved most.
I can't marry someone who hurt my sister. I can't promise forever to someone who made her life a nightmare.
Eliza's face crumpled. Her parents stood up, outraged. Gasps rippled through the guests, and Daniel walked away. He didn't look back. After the wedding that wasn't, there was chaos. Eliza's parents tried to smear him, but the truth had weight. My brother's friends and our family stood by him. In time, the story faded, but not before a few mutual acquaintances dug up old high school stories. More girls came forward, more victims. Eliza left town, but karma never forgets. 2 years later, I heard the whispers. Eliza had married a man named Grant, a wealthy investor, handsome, charismatic, and violent. The stories came in trickles. A broken arm, a missed gala, a hushed ER visit, and then the car accident. She'd tried to run. He followed. They crashed into a ravine. She survived, but barely. A shattered spine, 2 rods in her back, a wheelchair. I won't pretend I didn't feel something dark and cold and vindicated when I heard, but I also didn't laugh. Because I know what it means to live with pain. I know what it means to struggle through every movement, every morning. And though she had once delighted in my weakness, I would never delight in hers. But Daniel, he had already moved on. He never dated another Eliza. He married a woman named Priya 2 years later. She's kind. She teaches kids with disabilities. She listens. At their wedding, Daniel made a toast.
To second chances, to the people who show us who they are, and to the sisters who never stop.
Revenge didn't come with flames or fury. It came with honesty, with a choice, with a microphone and a room full of people. And later, when life balanced the scales, it came with a cruel, quiet echo. It tasted like justice. Thanks for watching. Oh my God, Erica. How long has this been going on?
For months, he's kissed me, Helen. He's hugged me in ways that don't feel right. Some nights he will come to my room and forcefully touch me. I've told him to stop, but he won't. Instead, he said that if I ever tell anyone, he will kill me. I am scared.
Rage boiled inside me. Hi, my name is Helen, and I wanted to share my life story with you. I will admit, though, that it isn't the most uplifting story, but I'm hoping that anyone that needs to hear it will do so, and find it inspiring for them. You see, my story is about cutting toxic people out of your life, and I know that sometimes people have a hard time doing so maybe hearing about what I went through will give you the courage you need. At any rate, when I was 6 years old, my mother got very ill and she died. The details of what lead up to her death are blurry to me now, more a shadow of sadness than a sharp memory. What I do remember is the emptiness that filled our house afterward, and my father, David, struggling to adapt to a world without her. He became an odd, distant figure in my life. Not cruel, not neglectful, just absent in all the ways that mattered. Of course, leading up to that, we hadn't exactly been all that close. We didn't really have a lot of overlapping interests. My father loved sports and war novels, while I loved board games and fantasy stories. Our worlds barely intersected, and when they did, it was awkward and forced. We ate dinner together, It was usually in front of the television so that we wouldn't have to talk, and the few times when we did talk, it was usually just surface-level stuff. I did try to include him in my hobbies, but he never seemed interested. Dad, do you want to play this game with me? It's called Mystic Quest. It's about adventurers battling mythical creatures.
Not really my thing, Helen. Why don't you play it with one of your friends?
Sorry. I just thought maybe it could be something we could try to do together.
Yeah. No thanks, kiddo. I'd rather watch paint dry. This is really something more for kids. Like I said, just find one of your friends to play with.
Friends weren't easy to come by, but I didn't tell him that. Instead, I watched him retreat to his armchair with another Tom Clancy novel in hand. Our conversations were sparse, our interactions minimal. I grew up in that quiet disconnection, longing for a bond that never formed. Everything changed when Bethany entered the picture. I was 16 when they met. She was warm, friendly, and brought a light into the house that I hadn't realized was missing. I know some people would feel threatened by their parent dating out of nowhere, but I found it to be a relief since there was finally other people to interact with. Plus, Bethany had a daughter, Erica, who was 2 years younger than me. Erica was sweet and shy, but we got along well enough. At first, I was hopeful. Maybe this new family dynamic would bring us closer. I was wrong. Erica and my dad hit it off instantly. She loved football and could discuss statistics and players as if she'd been following the game her entire life. She even liked his favorite war novels. I'd walk into the living room and see them laughing together, their bond forming effortlessly. It stung, but I told myself to be patient. Maybe he'd still make time for me. Hey Dad, can we go to the bookstore this weekend? There's a new fantasy series I want to check out.
Not this weekend, Helen. Erica and I are going to the big game. Maybe another time.
Maybe another time became his mantra. Meanwhile, he bought Erica tickets to concerts, jerseys signed by her favorite players, and once, a limited edition box set of her favorite war novels. When I asked for something, he'd remind me that I was old enough to start earning my own money. He even suggested that I needed to get a job because I was home far too much. One evening, he came home with a new bike, a sleek, shiny model that practically screamed expensive. Wow, Dad, is that for me?
No, it's for Erica. She's been wanting one for ages.
But so have I. Dad, it's really starting to feel like you love her more than me.
What do you mean? Oh, Helen, don't be so jealous and paranoid. The reality is that Erica hasn't had a father figure for a long time, and I'm just trying to be a good male role model for her. Someone she can compare her future husband to.
I had to stifle a laugh since my father thought that Erica could use a good male role model, while I had never had one in my entire life. I didn't know if he was being cruel on purpose or if it was all just by accident, but it stung. The sad thing was that Erica didn't even ride bikes that often. So as a gift, it didn't make much sense. And as for me, I couldn't remember the last time I'd gotten a gift at all. Obviously, I would get them for Christmas and my birthday, but even then, it was usually something practical, like school supplies. Then came the soccer game fiasco. Erica's school team made it to the finals, and Dad went all out. Custom jerseys, banners, and even a celebratory dinner planned afterward. I had asked him months earlier to come to a school board game club event where I'd been chosen as a finalist in a local competition. He'd brushed it off, saying he'd try but probably wouldn't make it. Of course, he didn't. Dad, you didn't come to my event, but you're spending all this time and money on Erica's game? It doesn't seem fair.
Helen, it's a championship game. It's a big deal. Besides, you don't need me cheering you on for board games.
Mine was a championship too, Dad. I swear, you are so inconsiderate. It's like you hate me or something.
Stop being so selfish, Helen. Of course I don't hate you. I love you and I love Erica too. It's just different with Erica.
What do you mean? Different how?
Well, never mind. Just drop it.
His responses were of course weird, but he was always being weird, so it was hard to tell if this behavior was really all that new. But yeah, it was another blow to our relationship. When I mentioned it to Bethany, she frowned and promised to talk to him, but nothing came of it. The worst moment came one evening when we went out to dinner. Bethany suggested a nice Italian place, and we all sat down to eat.
Erica, get whatever you want. It's on me.
What about me?
You've got your own money, Helen. You're self-sufficient.
I paid for my meal in silence, my appetite gone. Bethany noticed the tension and tried to smooth things over later.
David, I really appreciate you making things so accommodating for Erica, but don't you think you're being a little unfair to Helen? She's your daughter too.
Bethany, stay out of it. Helen's always been independent. She doesn't need me hovering over her.
But she does need you to be an attentive father. I really think you're pushing her away.
Well, she is my daughter. Just mind your own damn business about it. Drop it.
That argument escalated and ended in shouting, and nothing changed. The distance between us grew, and I started resenting Erica, even though I knew it wasn't her fault. She didn't ask for his favoritism. One day, Dad organized a weekend camping trip, just him and Erica. When I asked if I could join, he told me it was their thing. So I stayed home, reading alone in my room, the ache of being left out becoming almost unbearable. Each night I fell asleep crying and sobbing. Then, one day, Erica knocked on my bedroom door, her face pale and streaked with tears.
Can I talk to you?
What's wrong? She handed me her phone, her hands trembling. On the screen were texts from my father, explicit messages, promises of love, vows to leave Bethany and marry Erica when she turned 18. My stomach turned as I scrolled through them. Suddenly, my father's odd behaviors made complete sense, and it made me feel sick. Both because it was unquestionably evil of him, but also because I had resented this poor girl, and meanwhile she was suffering and going through something awful. I felt so guilty. Oh my God, Erica. How long has this been going on?
For months he's kissed me, Helen. He's hugged me in ways that don't feel right. Some nights he will come to my room and forcefully touch me. I've told him to stop, but he won't. Instead, he said that if I ever tell anyone, he will kill me. I am scared.
Rage boiled inside me. I grabbed her hand and marched downstairs to find Bethany. Together, we showed her the messages and told her everything.
I'm so sorry, Erica. I had no idea, but we're going to fix this.
That night, we confronted him. Bethany stood firm, her voice shaking with fury. I had to give it to her. The way she stood up to my father was inspiring.
David, we know everything. The texts, the letters, the way you've been treating Erica. It ends tonight. If you walk away and leave us alone, we won't press charges. But if you don't, we're calling the police.
You're all jealous, bitter bitches. You're trying to ruin my life because you can't stand that I love Erica. But we're soulmates, and we're meant to be together.
No, we're not. I don't want anything to do with you.
And now you two morons have brainwashed her.
He flew into a rage, throwing things across the room. When he lunged for Erica in an attempt to grab her and run, Bethany and I stopped him by throwing ourselves between her and him. We then began to punch him and knocked him unconscious. We then tied him up before calling the police. It was just awful. The aftermath was chaotic. David was arrested and later sentenced to 7 years in prison for assault, child abuse, grooming, and attempted kidnapping. From what I heard, he wasn't having an easy time in prison. Inmates don't take kindly to pedophiles after all. Of course, not long after he was sent off to prison, Bethany filed for divorce and even filed for full custody of me. And thankfully, the judge saw that it was prudent to not only award her the house and all the family assets, but he agreed that Bethany should have full custody of me and Erica. At first, I thought it would be awkward, but it ended up being the best thing in the world for me. With my father gone, I was finally able to spend more time with Erica and Bethany, and we really started to bond. We explored each other's interests and supported one another. It was the first time in my entire life that I finally felt like I was a part of a real family, and I loved it. My father would send me letters from time to time, apologizing and telling me that he had been beaten and stabbed several times. He said he was now scared to socialize in prison. I often replied with a single sentence, "Serves you right," followed by a laughing emoji. As far as I was concerned, he had died the day he was sent to prison, and he was no longer family. I had found myself a new family, and I would never let him back in my life ever again. Thanks for watching. For